So, this is my last weekend of freedom. Hmm. What's a man to do with his last weekend of freedom? I've been down this road before. Uh, but he asked me, how am I sleeping? I said, fuck, with two eyes closed. I'm fine. I got court on Monday. Finally, this all comes to an end. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain it really fast. Uh, in 2018, they legalized cannabis in Canada. Well, I opened up a store that sold cannabis on the day of legalization. Now, it ruffled a lot of people's feathers. Fox News, Detroit, all the mainstream media, social media people were at awe, and they came and interviewed and the whole nine yards. I had nothing to hide. I was as transparent as a glass. And at the time, the legislation broke out. It was 1,800 pages of legislation. Now, the chief of police in Windsor, when he commented to mainstream media that he don't know what the laws are because there's 1,800 pieces of legislation. Well, I opened up a store because who am I? I'm not Leo, barrister at law, and I don't know the laws pertaining to the cannabis at that time, right? So, as a savvy entrepreneur, I opened up a store, and they came and they shut it down. Well, they raided it anyways, and then that was after I think it was 21 days of being open. They shut it. They tried shutting it down. Well, they came in, raided, took everything, and then I opened up the next day, and they came 2 months later, and they shut it down and took everything, and the next day I opened up again. Okay, so there was three times that I opened, and then finally they put locks on the doors or whatever, and then I got another place that I rented out, and I opened again. So I'm going to court Monday. Finally, it's been 6 years. I've been on bail. 6 years for cannabis, for a substance that's totally uh, harmless in my eyes. And what else? Legal at the time. It was not illegal. It wasn't a gray market. It was legal. And from what I found, I've seen a lot of corruption within the governments, okay, provincially and federally, when it came to the way that they rolled out the sales of cannabis and the way that they rolled out the legislation on who could grow, right? And then you started finding out that people like Bill Blair, who was the minister of at the time safety, I think he was a minister of safety, the top cop of the country, who spent years of busting people for cannabis, was buying up shares in Alfrea and uh, the rest of these government made companies that grow the cannabis. Okay, and he wasn't alone. Three-quarters of the politicians out there thought they seen the green wave coming. Hello, Anasty. Can you hear me all right? So they capitalized on it, which is a conflict of fucking interest. Plain and simple. A conflict of interest. Okay. Any government that breaks out legislation and then they try and profit by cornering the stocks, okay, and we called it the green wave, and they're caught, okay, they are caught, and that's a conflict of interest. So they charged me anyways. The first time around, whatever, there was six people involved in the first raid, and I ended up taking the rap for all six people. And in the end, I got a $4,000 fine. So I thought, well, that's the end of it, right? Well, it wasn't. As I was leaving the courtroom, the Ontario Provincial Police got their digs in me and said, "You're being charged." I said, "With what?" "Well, we can't tell you." "Really?" So I went all the way to, they brought me down to the OPP detachment in Lakeshore and fingerprinted me and everything else. They wouldn't tell me what I was charged with. They didn't even read me my rights. They put me in a cell. Everything's on film, okay, which is a violation of what? One of my charters, anyways. Okay, so they didn't read me my rights, didn't even tell me what I was charged with. Till my lawyer got back to me a month later and said, "Oh, you're being charged with money laundering and gangsterism and all kinds of crazy shit." I said, "Oh, really?" Well, half the shit I already pled guilty to when I took the charges for the six. So there's no double jeopardy when it comes to to cannabis. So it's it's been tied up in the courts now for 6 years, and it's costing me a lot of money, and I don't have any more money for lawyers to play games, right? So I just told my lawyer, I said, you know what, I'm ready. I'm just plead guilty. I want this shit to end. My life is on hold. Okay, I'm a prisoner on bail. Okay, and he said, "Well, how do you figure?" Well, I've had job opportunities as a machinist when I do in Northwest Territories, in Alberta, other places. None of it. Okay, making top dollar, and I can't go because I got bail. Okay, I can't go on vacation overseas somewhere because I'm on bail. So I'm a prisoner, plain and simple. So, I'm paying the price, and I have been paying the price. So on the second time around when they busted me, I opened it up as a charity. Actually, we'll back that up. The first time that they busted me, there was a kids' food bank that went bust. A kids' food bank in Windsor, Ontario that went bust. Well, the next day after I seen it on mainstream media, I was there with the transport truck full of food, and I filled up that kids' food bank because there's no way that I'm going to let a kids' food bank fold under in my city if I have the means to do something about it. So I did. And from then on, it was charity for me, right? It had nothing to do with the money. I make the money at work. Uh, Charity. So I started helping out the mission, food banks throughout the city, churches, even recovery homes. Okay. And everybody knows the story, anyways, if you're from Windsor, Ontario, that went on. Uh, there was no stone unturned when it came to helping people. If your house burnt down, uh, you could contact me and I'd write you a check for whatever, 10 grand, 15 grand to get you back on your feet, right? Your house burnt down, you got a family. And that happened. There was funerals, multiple funerals. 16-year-old kid was shot and killed in my city. The family had no money for a proper funeral. They came to me, okay, and I wrote them a check, this and that, right? So there was multiple checks, and that's how they got me on the money laundering. That's what they're saying, money laundering. I gave it away. Yeah, I indulged in. I'm not gonna lie, I did indulge in steak and lobster and whatever I wanted to eat. Right, Jake the gamer's in the house. So they charged me with money laundering, and I knew it when I started doing it. And people warned me, "Oh, Leo, be careful because you're gonna ruffle a lot of feathers." And then I found out in a hurry that it's unlawful to feed the wildlife, and the wildlife being that of the less fortunate. And they came, because it embarrassed a lot of people in my city, like starters, the city of Windsor, the provincial government, the liberal government, because I was wiping out social issues using cannabis, and they didn't like that. Uh, I bet they'd be begging for it today. Times are a lot rougher today in 2024 than they were in 2018. So, I don't regret anything that I did. Believe me, I don't. I don't. If I go to court Monday and I get sentenced to a cell, I'm still not going to regret what I did. And if I was to do it all over again, would I? Yes, 100%, in a heartbeat, in a New York minute. So in the end, I ended up taking charges for, I think it was 12 people involved, and everybody walked in the end, but me. It was my store. People came, and you know what? The most honorable thing you could do for another person is lay down on that sword, right? And do what you got to do, right? It's a solid move. I'm a solid guy. I'm 54 years old. I've never stool pigeoned anybody out for anything in my life. So why would I start now at 54 years old, right? Or I was 50 at the time, 48 at the time. I was a young buck when I think about it, right? So, uh, why start now? So, I could hold my head up anywhere I go in this city, anywhere in this country, and people know, you can say whatever you want to say. I, you deleted a message, Jake? I didn't even see it. Must have been a bad one. Uh, so I could hold my head up anywhere in the city, in this country, anywhere I go, period. And people that know me know, hey, I'm trustworthy, that's for sure. I don't know what he said, but you're on top of that shit, aren't you, Mr. Jake, in Anstey? You got a wrench, Anstey. A stupid tone or a stupid one? Yeah, you're gonna get that at social media. Take a stab at me all you want. I really don't care. But I'm sure mainstream media will be catching what happens on Monday in court. I'll come back live, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Right? A lot of people are concerned, but don't lose any sleep over this for me because I'm not gonna. If worst case scenario, I do go to the cage, I could use a break actually. Yeah, I got wife, I got kids, I got mortgage, I got bills, this and that, right? So it is what it is. It sucks, but in the end, you know what? Would I do it again? Yeah, I would in a heartbeat. You got my support from LaSalle, Mr. Leo. Music. Thank you, man. You know, it is what it is, and it's costing me a lot. It's six figures in lawyers, believe it or not. It's sickening. For what in the end? They got what they wanted. That was a guilty plea, and I just pled guilty to everything because you know what? I'm just sick and tired of it. Really, I am. You know, like I said, I could have different job opportunities throughout the country, and I can't because I'm being held captive in my own country, right? My wife's going to Mexico in a couple weeks. My kids are going to Vegas. I can't go anywhere. I go to the corner store. So the lawyer did suggest house arrest, but you never know when you go in front of the judge and the judge can say, fuck, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, how many times you've been down this road, even though the judge knows I'm probably one of the biggest cannabis activists in southwestern Ontario. I don't see it that way. I don't feel that. A lot of people remind me all the time that I am, even my own lawyer. Uh, they don't put activists away. Well, when you see people going to jail in this country for mischief, mischief, you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to say their names on here because I might get a strike, but because they fought for freedoms of Canadians, in something so simple as mischief. Okay, and they didn't. It's crazy. It is. It's crazy the way these laws are. Some people call it a miscarriage of justice. I call it an abortion. It's an abortion, really. You see government officials getting away with everything, everything. I've never seen a corrupt government the way that it is, and 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 they get away with it, plain and simple. You got my back, I got yours. Oh, you know what? I'm all good. I'm all good in the hood. I got more respect. I got a shit ton of respect on the inside. That's a fact. You know. So yeah, there's a lot of corruption going on in the government on both sides of the border, man. Really, the America over here, but it's really bad over here. And when you find out that there's Chinese interference in the elections, and it's sickening, man. It's sickening. I've done enough time. That's up to the judge, right? It's in the judge's discretion now. Now they talked about house arrests. They talked about first it was $100,000 fine. I said I'd rather go to prison, really. And they came back at 50K. I don't have it. Yeah, I could. leverage my equity on my house. But no, that's not going to happen. I'm not leveraging shit. Okay, it's my house. It's my kid's house. It's my family home. My family home. I'm not gonna put my wife and kids in the rears over this shit. I'd rather go to jail. Really, growers for growers. I had to put that in there. So I'm not gonna leverage shit. And then they came back at 20 grand, and then they came back at 10. And my buddy said, just give them the 10 grand. Yeah, 10 grand's fuck all, really. Well, it is, but they ain't getting 10 cents. I'd rather go to fucking jail than give up 10 cents. Right? So I'm not gonna fuck really I'm not. And my buddy said, fine, I'll give you the 10 grand. No, you won't. Nobody's gonna give me the 10 grand. I'm sure I could get a bunch of people if I really wanted to on YouTube and GoFundMe's and everything else, super chats and Rumble rants and everything else, and I could come up with 10 grand pretty fast. No, it's not, I'm not playing it that way. Times are rough, times are hard. Money's too tight, right? Actually, there's a song by Simply Red, "Money's too tight to mention," and it's too tight for a lot of people. And I put myself in this predicament. I knew the outcome. Believe me, I did know the outcome when I opened that store. It was just a matter of time before the Bulldogs came in and boot the doors down and played the game, right? So it wasn't like I was naive. Oh, what do you mean? I tried playing that in the first run, right? What do you mean? I knew. I told everybody around me, shit's gonna hit the fan eventually, right? So, and it did, right? So it did, and you know what? I'm happy, really. I am. I'm not sad. And a buddy of mine said, "Oh, I haven't seen you," because he called me today, and he's like, "Are you all right, man?" Because he knows Monday's coming, right? And he's like, "You all right? I haven't seen you on social media at all, right? Lately." I said, "I'm fine, man. How you sleeping?" I said, "Like this, with two eyes closed, like everybody else. I'm sleeping fine. I'm working lots of hours. I'm working 12-hour shifts. Well, tonight I work 10, so, but yeah, I'm working as much as I can, man, and just trying to make ends meet in this country, and it's sickening. Really, it fucking is, because I'm just living week to week like everybody else. And when you make $100,000 a year at work, and your single income family, okay, now there's just my wife and my kid, my son in the house, and three dogs and a couple cats, uh, and I'm just living week to week, man. So that's sickening, man. Really, it is. You know, maybe they should just go on welfare. I don't know how people could live. Really, 10 years ago, this kind of money that I'm making at work, and I work a lot of overtime to get there, right? I'd be living like a fucking king 10 years ago. No, I'd be people that are on social benefits and stuff like that through the government to survive. I don't know how they're doing it, man. Really, I don't. It would probably turn me into a bank robber in a hurry. So when it comes time to feed the wife and kids, uh, people will stretch to great lengths to put the food on the table, and I'm one of those guys. Really, I'm erratic. Fuck that. I won't take away from the people that I need it to work. I gotta put my glasses on to read this shit for my money. You know what, Jake? You work hard, man, and I'm proud of you. Really, I am. I wasn't proud of you today because you're on vacation. I had to run your fucking machine too, buddy. I had to run both, and I did like a champ. I think they'll be very impressed when they go into work tomorrow and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I don't like running two machines. I just don't. When one's on the other side of the shop, that means I'm burning calories. I got to eat more. And it costs me more to put fuel in the tank to walk across the shop 50 times a day. But I'm all good. And I'm not worried about it. Yeah, you know what, Anasty? To be fucking homeless, I could never imagine. I know you got a kid and stuff, and you know, before I went homeless and lived in a tent, I just do what I'm gonna do and roll the dice and fuck at the end of the day. Oh well, if I'm sitting in a cage, at least I got a roof over my head, right? 3 squares a day, whatever. You know, they're creating they're creating crime. That's what they're doing. With the inflation so high and people can't make ends meet, they're gonna do what? They're gonna try and make ends meet by making shortcuts in their lives, okay, and doing stupid things that we call stupid. But hey, when it comes down to survival, it's survival of the fittest for some people, right? I'm one of those people. I'll do whatever I gotta fucking do, minus sex acts. That ain't happening, right? The stupid carbon tax. You're right, man. Maria, you're right. A lot of it has to do with the carbon tax, income tax. Now, I heard Trump last night say that he wants to cut income tax on overtime. If they did that with me, fuck, my overtime's like could be $1,200 a week. If I didn't have to pay income tax, that's a big chunk of change in my pocket every week. I make more in overtime than I do in straight time. And Polyev should do that. Hopefully he's the guy and he does what he says, man. After seeing all the bullshit for the last fucking 54, and I've been following politics for probably 30 of those 54 years, honestly. And the shit that I've seen in the last 30 years by all levels of government and all forms of different government has all been the same bullshit. I've seen the HST come in. I've seen the GST come in. I've seen politicians come in and try and say, well, we're going to get rid of the HST. We're going to get rid of the GST. And they never did. And we're stuck with it. Now we got a carbon tax. And if you actually think that these fucking grocery stores out there are going to cut their prices back because the carbon tax is gone, you're naive. It's not going to happen. They got you now. Okay, and they got you at the pumps. They got you paying, and they're not calling back. You know, I see a lot of crazy things going to happen in this country, really, especially if Polyev don't get rid of that carbon tax. He says axe the tax. Well, it's all in the wording. Axe to me means slashing. Don't mean getting rid of it. You could slash it, axe it from 23% to 13%. Well, see, I told you I axed the tax. No, you get rid of it. And the immigration, you get rid of that shit too, man. You have to. It's brutal. You got kicked out because the landlord needs to move into the house. I call BS. I'm calling BS on that too, Amnesty, because that's what landlords do. A lot of them out there are greedy bastards. My daughter rents a house next door, and it's $750 a month for a 2-bedroom house. Try that one on for size. Okay, and the rent's never gone up. I wonder why. So, that's what they do. The landlord will come in and say, I'm moving in, and he ain't moving in. He wants more money. Now, you could blame the landlord, and you could blame inflation, you could blame the cost of housing, okay? Because if you were to buy a house just anywhere in the city of Windsor right now is $300,000 and a mortgage at 5%, that's 500 on every 100,000. That's 1,500 a month just in mortgage payments. Then you have your property taxes, and you got your fire and theft and everything else, your property insurance, okay? It adds up. So, $1,800 a month, it sounds like a lot, but when the guy paid $300,000 for the house, he really is not making anything as a landlord, right? He's just trying to pay off the house with somebody else living in there as an investment. I can never do it. I can never, rent a house to somebody. I just couldn't. I, I couldn't rent for the prices that they're saying. Like if I was to move out of this house here, and it's a 4 bedroom house with a finished basement, an apartment down there, graded entrance. It's got its own apartment down there. My son's down there. If I was to rent it out, I don't know, probably $1,000 a month for the whole house for both, and it's finished in my house. I need new floors though. Been about 12 years. So when the wife goes to Mexico, I think she's not on my YouTube, so I might put new floors down. She's gone for a week. See if she notices when she comes home. But yeah, no, I can't stand greedy people. And it's not a thing of greed, Anasty. Like I said, if they paid 300,000 for the house, I know what they're paying for mortgage, and 5% is not bad. When I bought this house 25 years ago, my mortgage rate was at 9.2%, and I thought that was a good deal back then, 25 years ago. Right? So imagine if I was to buy a $300,000 house at 9.2%, that's $900 on every 100,000. So $300,000 would be $9, 18, $2,700 just in mortgage payments. Brutal, right? Then you have your property tax. You can't evade that. You got to pay your property taxes. So it is what it is. Just to say that I didn't pay 300,000 back then. I paid 92,000 for my house 25 years ago, but at 9.2%, it was $920 a month just mortgage payment, and that was a lot of money 25 years ago. And now I pay nothing. It is what it is. But if you look at what it cost me over the 30 years or 25 years at $900 a month, I didn't make anything. If I was to sell my house, yeah, I might make 100 grand on it with all the payments that I've made over 25 years. I might make 100 grand on it. At least I'm making something on it. The house I lived in Vancouver, I kicked myself in the ass in '92. The landlord offered me the house for 50K, and I said, "That's Chinese guys. That's too much money." And I ended up moving anyways, and I watched the real estate just go crazy. That house that I lived in ended up selling 10 years later for 1.2 million. 1.2 million, man. I could have had it for 50K. That would have been the best investment, 10-year investment I could have ever made. Right? So it is what it is. When you have a housing crisis like we have right here in the government, oh, we're going to build 1 million homes. They didn't build no million homes or 5 million homes. They said they wanted to build. What do they got? 250,000 homes built. It'll take them. It'll take them 100 years to build 5 million homes in this country. You got the price of the now. A buddy of mine just built a home. I was with him last week, and he built one out on the Indian Reserve, Native Reserve, we'll call it, and beautiful home. I passed it. I went, fuck, I bet you Brad built that house. And I was at a party and Brad was there. I said, you build that house out there? He goes, yeah, man. So what'd that cost? He said, 1.2 million just to build it. It's brick home, steel roof. Okay, a beautiful home, man. Ranch, finished basement. Uh, when I drove by it, I went, that's wow. But the cost of materials and the cost of labor and everything else, right? 2x4 is not cheap anymore. Nothing's cheap anymore in this country. The wife said she paid $6.50 for 3 bags of milk today. I think it's time to get a cow. Some chickens in the backyard. What would they do if I had a cow in the city? Sorry, that's my meat, that's my milk, that's my poultry. I eat eggs, I eat a lot of things, right? So it is what it is. I thought I'd come on and just share that if I do go silent on Monday, Anasty and Jake the Gamer will let you guys know my situation. Uh, And what's, the nice thing about Canada is it's not forever. For me, if I do go silent, it's not forever. I'll be back. And it is what it is, right? Yeah, you'll keep them posted. You'll know, Jake. You and Anstey will know right away. You'll see it in the news, the local news. And I got a list of people, and I could do that. I could have a nice letter from my work. I could have a list of everybody, the Mission, Street Help, recovery homes, churches, the University of Windsor, the St. Clair College food banks, everything else. And I got all the receipts. And they sent me letters, anyways, of thank you letters and stuff like that, right? I could bring that shit to court, but I'm not gonna. I pled guilty. I'm just sick and tired of it. Really, I am. And people say, "Well, you know what? You get a letter from your work. That's not. Listen, I'm not letting anybody. I'm done. Just done. Really, I am. I'm to the point where, you know, worst case scenario is a cage, and I think I might like it actually this time around. I might really like it because you got a lot of shit going on politically, okay, and on the U.S. side in Canada, and I think the safest place for me might be inside because it wasn't me who did it. I got a great alibi. Yeah, I don't. I got tons of letters. I do, and I'm not even going to bring them. I'm just done. The judge knows who I am. The chief of police knows who I am. The fucking mayor knows who I am. And I'm done. Really, hang me out to dry. No one's going to mess with me. In which way? On the inside, no, that ain't happening. On the street, that ain't happening. In the courts, I don't know. I just don't know. There's some good judges out there, but they're dead now. Judge Nosselchuk, Judge Rogan. Actually, Judge Rogan died of cancer, and guess what he used? He used cannabis, and he was the first judge ever to legalize cannabis. 2012, he legalized possession of up to an ounce of pot. Oh, the inside? Yeah, if I, no, I'm golden in there. There's a few people that'll be running if I do go inside, that's for sure. If they wind up on the same block as me. And that's another thing. I could go in for pot and fucking end up, who knows, 6 months, a year in jail for pot, and I could wind up doing 25 years in the fucking New York second in there. And we know how you get there, right? You know, there's always been always we'll say it. Stupid people inside that play stupid games, and they find out in a hurry, right? But I'm sure, yeah, I'm 100% sure if I do hit the block, nobody's playing any games at all. And it don't matter which block I hit. I could hit Windsor, Penetang, Millhaven, any of the blocks, and everybody just knows they know what time of day it is. Yeah, that's truth. I was an outstanding boxer. I still know how to fight. The hands are good. The legs are just as good. The back's great. I'm holding up great at 54. And, I can still throw down. That's a fact. I know people half my age, 18, 19-year-old kids wouldn't even attempt to play the game with me. They got the youth, but I got the smarts, right? I know what time it is. I know what I know to throw a right hook and uppercut. The jab, just the jab alone. My favorite punch of them all, the jab. Straight. But I'm going to be all right. It's all good. Yeah, your only hope. Well, you better hope Monday. By Monday, anyways. Southpaw, yeah, I could fight. I could fight southpaw. I could right-handed. It's funny you say that because I don't know what the word is for me. I could golf left-handed. I could golf right-handed. I play hockey left-handed. Uh, I could pitch only right-handed though. I can only pitch right-handed. Uh, but guys go I could really I could golf left-handed. I could play hockey left-handed and right-handed. Right, it's pretty funny. I could fight right-handed. I could fight southpaw left-handed. It's yeah, that's something you learn along the way. World of gamers. I should put my glasses on because I really can't see for sure. Yeah, that's the word ambiguous, something like that is what it's called. Yeah, something like that. You're the guy with one eye. I know a couple guys with one eye. My brother's got one eye. Here's a story about him. He's got cancer right now. My brother Ross. It's a true story. In 1990, I was 20 years old, 19 years old, and he was in prison in Vancouver for robbing banks, and my other brother was in prison in Vancouver for robbing banks. And this guy who was a rapist, okay, wound up in population. And my brother called him on, and the guy goes, "Oh, Ross," and they both had shivs, and they were in an area, right? And he says, "Ross," because the guy was from Windsor, his name was Serge, and he says, "Ross, drop the knife. We could go fist to fist. My brother could go. Okay, he could throw down too. That's okay. I'll just beat you, Serge, whatever, right?" So he threw down his shiv, and Serge went behind and pulled out another one from behind and stabbed my brother in the eyes, in both eyes, and he blinded him in one eye. And I was only 20 years old at the time, and I knew who the guy was too, right? Real piece of dirt. So I said, I went out west, and I was like, I see my brother in the hospital. He's got the patches on the eyes and everything else. And I'm thinking, shit, he can't go back to the penitentiary like this, man. He's gonna get fucked every which way but Sunday, right? Um, so I decided I got to go to jail. I got to get this guy, right? And that was my mission, was to take this guy out. I knew who he was, this and that. So I went on a little rampage to get to the penitentiary, and I started doing jewelry stores and all kinds of crazy shit. It was wild. What I reminisce about it, and I talk to people that are addicted to different substances, right? And I talk to them, and they're like, the best high you could ever have for me is doing an armed robbery. And I'm not gonna lie, when you got 25 police cars and a helicopter chasing you, okay, the best high in the world, I'm telling you, is that right there. And I was addicted to that thrill, and it was a scary time in my life because there was no drugs involved. It was the drug of rush. We'll call it rush. And I ended up getting caught anyways, right? Like I said, you get 25 cop cars, helicopter. It was crazy in Vancouver, and they finally came. They got me, right? And then I went to court, and I ended up getting provincial time for it. And my brother was in the penitentiary, so I never got to see Serge, and I really did. I really wanted him, right? I wanted him on, like Dexter. That was me. I was going to get him, right? I can't stand skin hounds and child molesters. I just can't. I have a place in my heart for them, uh, and everybody knows where that place is for those types of people. I have no heart for them, really. I don't, and I could give two squirts of piss about them, right? So I ended up going to prison, and lo and behold, he ended up getting his anyways in the end. I'm here, he's not. Uh, and it is what it is, right? So, but that's going to be another story I'm going to bring out. I'll share with you guys on YouTube about my family upbringing, right, and why I am who I am today. Has a lot to do with that, right? Growing up the youngest of eight boys, and yeah, Put it this way: you just don't rat. You just don't. You're not. You're a stool pigeon. You know what happens if you're a stool pigeon. And I found out at an early age, okay, that you just don't do that shit. Even if you're in grade school and you get into a fight and you lose, you don't run to the principal's office and go, he beat me up. You just don't do that. Okay, you don't do it. The repercussions later on in life, if you play that game, are no good because you're a piece of dirt, right in my eyes. I can't stand somebody who's a rat, and I can't stand the skinhounds and rapists, the rapists and the child molesters, people that beat old people. I just can't stand it. Really, I don't give you space. And if I catch you, that's another story. Son, can you get me another growers, please? My son. He's nothing like me, thank God. He is just like me, but he's nice. And he never had to go through what I had to go through, but he knows I don't lie. I don't lie to my kids. But I seen it all. I seen every scenario you can when it comes to crime and the way that it ends for a lot of people. See what happens to people that do drugs. It don't end well, right? Snitches get stitches and put in ditches. Yeah. In the end, yeah. Yeah, you don't ride with me. You never will. We don't see face to face or eye to eye. Right? You just don't. So you're the guy with one eye. What's your name, One Eye? The one eye guy. Were you part of the 420 one eye guy? Now it's a true saying. It's an old saying. You're right, but it's a true saying. Yes, Justin. Now I know. Bald head, Justin, the music guy, the singer dancer. You're not the singer. You don't do karaoke. We met at the rally. Which rally? The Freedom Rally or the 420 rally? You just love music? I love music. I really do. I like a lot of different music. When I got home tonight, I walked in the house and I listened to music on my way home, and I asked my wife, I said, you know what you could do to me? She said, what? I said, you could put your hands on my skin tight jeans. How'd that song go? Katy Perry. Put your hands on my skin tight jeans. Teenage Dream Tonight. She laughed. But I listen to a lot of music, man. Different. Maria Lucas, you met us both. Where'd you meet me? See, it's funny. I must be losing my mind. So my wife says, you know that guy? No, I don't. Yeah, you met him. And I'm like, oh my God, really? I've met a lot of people. Maria. But it is what it is, guys. Don't lose any sleep over me. I'm the guy who put myself in this predicament. And I'm the guy who's solely going to stand with it. Go by Nikki. Nikki Lucas. Nikki Lucas. Are you on my Facebook? So I am going to kick off a podcast if I get house arrests. And we're going to talk about all kinds of crazy things here on the podcast. Yeah, the only reason it happened is the government was jealous. I'm not mad at the government either, okay? You break the law, I expect you to be whatever, right? Convicted, charged. You break the law, they have a job to do. Like I said, I know the chief of police, Jason Blair. I know him well. His dad was my plant biology teacher in high school, and he taught me how to grow tomatoes and everything else. But I took it to a whole new level. Uh, and that's the chief of police. And I seen the chief of police in the summertime, and he stopped, and I had my kids with me, and we're having some drinks downtown. Actually, I was watching Game 7 of the Edmonton Oilers, and he jumped out of the gator and he walked right into the outside patio we were at, and he gave me a hug. Man, that's the chief of police. And people were taking pictures of it too. I know the chief, I know the mayor. They're not bad people. They do what they do. I don't agree with a lot of things that the mayor does, that's for sure. But he's the mayor. I'm not. And he's the chief of police. And he said I got a raw deal at the end of the day. He wasn't chief at that time, by the way. It was that woman that was the chief. He was deputy chief, one under. And then when she got kicked out over that freedom convoy crap, he ended up becoming chief, right? And I like Jay. I do. I got nothing bad to say about the guy. I've never helped him out on any cases or any of them, right? Sean McCurdy's another one. Uh, he was the head of the police union. Uh, he served 20 years with the Amherstburg PD, and then he wound up in Windsor. And I grew up next to Sean McCurdy growing up when we were kids, and I know him well. And I seen him in the casino with his wife, and he didn't see me, and I walked up behind him like I had one of these, and I stuck it in his back. I said, "Give me all your money, bitch." And he looked over and he seen it was me, and he was like, "Well, Leo, man, right?" But that's the type of guy I am. His wife laughed. She said, "Oh, you're Leo. I heard all the stories about you growing up." Right, so it is what it is. They have a job to do, and I'm just part of that job sometimes. There's one cop, Kevin Trudeau. Fuck, for 25 years, this guy chased me around fucking town. I'm telling you, it was so sickening. I was like, fuck, he was like Dog the Bounty Hunter on me. And then he retired from the police force, and when I opened up my store, he came in with his wife and his daughter and donated food, and his daughter ended up purchasing something, and he was like, fucking, and at the time, the Windsor Star was there, and I said, "You should do a fucking interview with this guy." I said, "Who's that?" I said, "That's the ex-head of narcotics. He chased me around for 25 fucking years, man, in my life. I got convicted, went to prison multiple times because of him, right? And I hold no grudges against Kevin Trudeau at all. I don't. His grandkid's actually a boxer, and I support the kid, really, I do. He goes off to France to fight. They do fundraisers. I go to the fundraisers. I got no grudges with Kevin at all. We laugh about it today. Fuck you guys. I can't. I said he was like he was like cancer. I couldn't get rid of. The only way I could get rid of Kevin Trudeau is by moving to Vancouver, and that's what I did. Right, so I laugh, and it was funny because how I bumped into the guy. I'm working tool and die out in Oldcastle, and I order a pizza from Naples, and the fucking pizza delivery guy is him, and he comes in my shop. Pizza for Leo. He's over there, comes, delivers some pizza right to my fucking machine, and I'm like, this ain't cool. Fuck, what's he doing? Fuck, delivering pizza, right? And he said he's just making extra cash, right, on the side, right? And that's what he did, his side hustle, delivering pizzas. And I'm thinking, man, every time I order a pizza, this guy's going to bust me for something, right? So I just started ordering lots of pizza. And I'd laugh every time, every Friday and Saturday or whatever, I'd order a pizza, and he'd deliver it like clockwork. And we just started talking about fucking how he used to chase me around and everything else, right? And now I couldn't get rid of the guy. He even fucking delivered a pizza. I order a pizza. Who shows up? The ex-head of narcotics to deliver my fucking pizza? True story, man. And I told him, you know what? Out of growing up and you had the police, we didn't have the problems we have today because guys like Kevin Trudeau and Parsons and fucking the whole slew of them, I know the whole fucking drug squad, they didn't fuck around. Now they left me because I stuck to one thing, and that was the weed, right? But when you, if you're selling anything else, like you see the hardcore drugs come around, like crack, they beat so many heads, and they take people in the back alley, and they would do their things right to them, and that was a deterrent. They kept crime down in the neighborhood. Now, fuck today, cops can't do shit. Their hands are tied. Everybody's got a camera in their back, using their phones and everything else, right? And you know, puts puts the leash on the police for sure. The way that they used to enforce the law was fucking pretty brutal, really brutal. But crime was down. Guess you got to fight fire with fire, right? You know who I'm talking about? Kevin Trudeau, Wayne Parsons, Tammy Fryer. Here's a good story about Tammy Fryer. I'm smoking a joint down at the river with my buddy Rob Bruni, and they pull up, and she comes up, and she's in plain clothes. Oh, smoking weed, eh? And Bruni sees her, and he knows who she is. So he had an ounce of weed in his pocket. He threw it in the Detroit River. Well, fuck, she's like RoboCop. She fucking jumps in, comes up with the bag of weed, and she goes, oh, now it weighs a pound. Soaking wet. Yeah, I got some stories to tell you guys about that. Hi, Daddy. Who's who's that? You're flooring or boring? See, I can't even see. My glasses out there, son. I'll put my glasses on. I'll start reading your chats. You see my glasses out there, Leo? They're out here? Oh, they are too. Ooh. I'll be back in a second. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, you're flooring. Hi, Daddy. Aaron. Hello. Laugh out loud. Yeah. So I'm gonna start doing some live podcasts. If I get house arrest, that is. If I don't, it goes south on Monday. You won't be hearing from me. That's how it works. Unless I suitcase my phone. And if you know what suitcasing's about, that's when you stick something in your ass to bring it inside. And I'm not sticking my phone in my ass. Not this time.
Yeah, it'd be 2 weeks.
Not this time. Last time. But I do know a lot of prison guards too. Love you too, buddy. So who knows? If I go on social media while I'm stuck inside, not a smart move. I'll be going to the hole right away for that one. Sounds painful. Yeah, it would be, especially these phones nowadays, eh? Imagine trying to get your iPhone in your ass. No, that ain't happening. People were sticking flip phones. I don't know how they were doing it, but what happens when the battery runs out? Who's got the charger in their arse? What's my opinion on the George Floyd case? Well, George Floyd, I there's he got beat to death. Period. Now he was a criminal. Okay, and the long arm of the law got him, plain and simple. Now he was a criminal and he was passing counterfeit money. Uh, did they need to choke him out and kill him? No, they didn't. He died of an overdose. I heard that too. That he possibly died of an overdose. He was on drugs. Toxology came back, but it didn't have to go that far, and it never does. If you show a little bit of respect, I've never ever been beat by the police. I've had guns in my face to my head, but never been beat. Um, but that's, you know, at the time they were just trying to look out for their own backs, right? So, you know, uh, I've never been beat. If you treat it with some type of decency, if you're the type of guy who gets pulled over by the police and fuck you, pig, fuck this, and you talk to them that way, and then you wonder why your teeth get knocked down your throat, okay? Learn a little bit of respect. What if it's yes sir, no sir, whatever, right? You don't have to go full out. Just show a little bit of respect, right? And they're not bad people. There's a lot of bad cops. There's a lot of bad cops out there. Don't get me wrong, but they become bad, right? Corrupt and everything else. Steroids is a drug, period. And you look at some of these police officers out there, and I know about natural ability and people working out, and what you get if you're natural. You do it natural. There's some police out there that look like fucking Kentucky Derby horses. Okay, steroids is a drug, period. Okay, world gamer. I've been beat by the police, and no way was it warranted. It was way out. Uh, the charges against me were actually dropped. I was charged for a guy slamming my head on a cruiser. Oh, you bump into a police officer, they could charge you with assault, right? Just by bumping into them. I know guys that used to want to go to jail, and uh, there's a reason why they wanted to go to jail is because they were packing something in their ass to bring in. So they would go downtown Windsor and they'd just bump into cops like they were drunks, pretend they were staggering, this and that, and fucking right away you're in handcuffs, you know, you're downtown. Some got beat too. You've been beat by the cops? I never been. Never, ever, ever. And I've been raided fuck a dozen times for pot, but they've always come in hot though with the guns, right? Because they don't know what's behind fucking door number two, right? You just never. They're the drug squad and they come in that way, right? Fucking battering ram, door off the fucking hinges, guns out, guns drawn, right? But anything could happen when that happens, right? You know, my daughter, she's 25 today, or 26 now, but the police came and they boot the door off the hinges, and guess what? Her fucking chair was behind the door, and by the grace of God, fucking nothing hit my daughter. And when they got through the house, and when they got through the door and they looked and seen my daughter in her rocking chair, they felt really bad. They did. They're like, oh my God, oh my God. Well, you're here for pot. Now I get it. It don't matter if it's pot or cocaine or heroin or whatever it is. They don't know what's behind door number two, right? So, with me doing a armed robbery in 1990, uh, what would we say? Yes, I'm in that file for violence. Okay, so when my name comes up on a CPEC, it says proceed with violence, period, or proceed with caution, violent offender. Now, I'm not a violent guy, I never hurt anybody when I did it. But that's just the way it is, right? So I'm tagged that way and I'm labeled that way. And when I go to jail, uh, I don't stay in Windsor very long because that it comes up on the record, violent offender. So there's a place for people like me, apparently, and that's Penetang, uh, for instance, right, where they have the facility to hold people that are violent offenders. So when I go to jail, I get put in with all the violent offenders, not sex offenders, violent offenders. They don't put sex offenders in with us, period. Just don't happen, right? So I'm in the worst of the worst, you could call it, right? There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I guess I'm the ugly. So even though it happened in 1992, it is what it is, right? Or 1990, that shit stays with me for the rest of my life. It's like, whatever. It is what it is. And I try and follow a non-violent lifestyle today, anyways. Yeah, today I do. Before, no. No, 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 no. No, was drinking, going downtown, fighting, boozing, partying, fighting every weekend, man. Every weekend. Windsor, 1989. Olette Avenue was like fucking Tijuana. Elbow to elbow people. Like, you tell people today, the kids growing up, imagine every bar had a lineup of 50 or 60 people, and it was all bars downtown Windsor. Right? So it was, we called it Tijuana of the North, and it was Canada versus USA. And if you wanted to get into trouble, Olette Avenue was the place to be. You're about to go to Parliament with the, yeah, yeah, Parliament's a joke. You know, I've only been to Ottawa twice, and that was for the, actually, 1 week was for the convoy, and then I went with my wife on our way to New Brunswick, or on our way to New Brunswick, yeah, last summer, and we stayed in Gatineau, across the bridge, and then we went into Ottawa and got something to eat. Right, we weren't there long. Just looked at the sights. Right, it's a very pretty town where Parliament is, but there's a lot of scum working in Parliament. When you have an integrity commissioner who is a liberal, who is looking out for who? Liberals, right? And the integrity commissioner is seeing if there is anything that the government's done. Well, you know how that's going to end. Who has the integrity at the end of the day? None of them. When you have 330 parliamentary assholes giving a standing ovation to a living Nazi, you're all complacent. I don't care if you're fucking conservative, green. Everybody that clapped that day should not even have a job today, because it tells me that they don't even have a grade 10 fucking history course behind them. And if anybody knew history, that in World War II, okay, the Russians were our allies, okay, and the Ukrainians, they were the ones, right? So, and he was a Nazi, plain and simple. I wouldn't be surprised there's an early election. Well, a lot of people think that there's going to be. Well, I could tell you one thing: by next October there will be. You know, I say don't let them have the early election. Keep them in there. Stick around. Let the NDP fucking bury themselves even more, because when it all comes down to it, in another 365 days from now, we know which way we're voting. And if you vote Liberal, you're voting NDP, and if you vote NDP, you're voting Liberal. So get rid of both of them. Wipe them right off the map. They don't deserve it. Not one of them. Even the ones that are coming out now, they're saying, oh, there's 24 MPs that are going against Justin Trudeau. They're just trying to save skin. They know if they don't do something and stand up, their job's on the line. Well, your fucking job's on the line now. A little too late, if you ask me. Fuck them. Keep them there. Burn them out. Because that's what's going to happen. You know, they're a bunch of burnouts to begin with. And anybody that sides with the guy, you're a creep. Yeah, I want to see him lose. I want to see him lose big time. And he'll lose if they call an election tomorrow, all the same, right? But the 24 that are trying to say, oh, we're going against Trudeau, then cross the floor. It's that simple. Cross over to the Conservative Party. And don't tell me you can't, because you can. If you want to get rid of them, cross over. And then have your vote of non-confidence. Yeah, cry like a baby. Use tampons to dry his eyes. You know, everything that the gay community's done in the last 30 years, they've come big miles, okay? Big miles. to have it all ruined. Okay, because you got this guy here now. Oh, we're gonna bring in the sex ed into the schools, and we're gonna teach little kids how to do this and that. You know what? It's no good. Even a lot of gays don't like Trudeau. Believe it or not, they want him gone. There's a difference between the gays and the transgenders, and they've drawn a line in the sand. All right, and just ask them, ask anybody that you know that's gay who you voting for, right? And a lot of them are not going towards Trudeau. Even the immigrant vote, it's pretty bad when the immigrants are saying there's too many immigrants. You have a job fair, you're hiring two people, and 3,000 people show up with applications. Wow, it's like winning the lottery to get a job in the stinking country. Sickening. Sickening, 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 guys. So I'm going to get off from here. We're going to talk a lot more about politics and everything else. Hopefully Monday, everything looks good. And if I'm in orange coveralls and I'm on a live, then we'll know what happened. If I go black and silent, see Anasty, see Jacob. They'll be running the show. Jacob will come on. He's got full access to my YouTube, and actually he's done pretty good because we're starting to make money with the YouTube. And he suggested something. Why don't we donate the money to the homeless? And we're making money through advertisements. So every time you guys see a video of mine, share it, like it, watch the advertisements, because every time you watch the advertisement, we make money. I think we made $50 this week or something. In 3 or 4 days, $50. It's not much, but it could go a long way, right? For other people that really need it. And I'm willing to donate everything, super chats, you name it, right? Whatever comes in. And I have Jacob there to hold me accountable. Yeah, $50 is $50, right? Not that I do need Jacob or anybody to hold me accountable. I'm a man of my word. When I say I'm going to do something, and I'm going to do something. So make make what I'm doing bigger, right? And the more people that watch it, the more money goes to where? People that need it, right? I'd really love to be one of those guys that makes $100,000 a month doing YouTube, and donate it all, right? All the proceeds go to uh, the mission. Well, I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it into the food banks, okay, and people that need it, because there's a lot of people out there that do need it, right? Like Anasty, she's in need, that's for sure. And we're gonna do the right thing with the money, anyways, because you know what? I see a lot of people making the money through social media, and they're not doing anything with the money positive, right? In Canada, what the hell? So do what we got to do. I'll see you guys Monday, regardless. If you don't see me, well then you'll see them. But that's the way we're gonna do it. Ciao, guys. Have a good night. I gotta get some sleep. Thanks for watching.